Hi everybody. Alright, so the comm shelf is continuing to get some work done. We got the bins, we're happy with where it's going to be mounted. So we're putting two nut plates, two of them on the U channel that goes across the front of the firewall there. And we're putting the other two on the entrance to what was the old glove box. That way we can secure it down with just 4 little screws. Getting to it is no problem. You can see I've got the heater out because it is cold. It is freezing. At the time it was mid-30s every morning, just freezing cold. Ice all over the plains. Anyway, yeah, the idea being that it just takes 4 screws to hold the shelf in place. And you can get to them no problem because you can get to the first two, the entrance to the glove box from the front. That's easy. Getting to the back two, you can get through by just opening up one of the accessory panels, the one on the left, or I should say the one on the right, and your arm fits right through and you can easily access both the holes. Which is no problem. And the nice thing about the shelf is that once all 4 screws are out, you can simply raise it up from the front, raise it up, or raise the entire thing up and bring it down from underneath to fix anything for the comm, so that's good. Now that we've got that sort of settled for just a moment, it's not completely done yet, but we're going to go back to it in a different video. Meanwhile, the rest of this video and the next video, we've got a couple of issues with the EFII Bus Manager. Not the bus manager itself, it works perfectly fine. It's me and my stupidity and the way I wired it. Okay, so we've got 2 things that we're fixing, and we need to fix this before the skin goes on. Another thing, so basically this is just another one of those inner demons that I needed to fix. One, the Essential Bus doesn't have any kind of terminal block for things that needed power on the Essential Bus that don't necessarily need breakers, like, battery warning lights, alternator warning lights, small stuff like that. And 2, the RF relay was plugged into the Essential Bus, and it wasn't plugged directly to the battery. Right? I mean, who cares about courtesy lights if you have to have the power on, right? So the courtesy lights are there so that you don't hit the wing or damage the plane when you're trying to approach it, right? If you have to approach it, get in there and turn the power on to have them work, that's kind of pointless. So we're doing 2 things. We're taking the number 10 wire out of the bus manager that normally goes down to the circuit breaker panel for the Essential Bus, and we're leading a number 10 over to a terminal block that we'll be installing basically on that in the sub panel area, and you'll see that. And then we're going to have another number 10 that leaves that terminal block and then goes to the circuit breaker panel. It's the same one that's there. It's just instead of going all the way back to the bus manager, it stops at the terminal block, which receives power from the bus manager. So we're going to do that. We're going to install the terminal block, and then we're going to redo the RF relay so that it goes directly, so that the wire now plugs directly onto the number 1 battery, and it goes down to the circuit breaker. Then it comes back to the RF relay, which then goes down to both lights. So before we had both lights go into the circuit breaker and then over to the RF relay and then over to the Essential Bus, which it works, but only if the power's on. Duh. So we're fixing all of that. And it's nice because now if you don't want the RF relay on, because it will be, draining a very small amount of power, you can just pull the breaker. You're leaving the plane, you need the power overnight, great, push the breaker in, right? And we're talking it's like 1 watt. So there's no way that it's going to drain that battery in less than like 2 months. It's a very slow drain. All right, next video, more things, and this is my last video from Hawaii, so next video I will be live-ish. So thank you for joining me, everyone, and see you soon.